Welcome back to another episode of Projecting Grandeur. I'm your host, Ron Dichter. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being part of this community of ours. We are here to change the world by helping entrepreneurs who are the ones changing the world do the best things that they can. And while I may not be an expert on everything, I have started a good number of businesses, exited a bunch of businesses, grown businesses to 9 figures, and feel like anything that I can do to help entrepreneurs succeed, I'm all about that. So please remember to like these. Please remember to comment, and most importantly, share it with anybody who has aspirations to become an entrepreneur or is an entrepreneur. If we can help them from some of the things that we've done in the past, then by all means, let's do it. Today, I want to talk about your voice, and I want to talk about how to really craft the message around your message about your company, your message about what you stand for, and really coming up with a way for you to be able to articulate that to your prospective audience. The thing about companies are, at least that I have felt in my experience, is that the founder, the CEO, when you're a small, scrappy company, is really the spokesperson for the organization. And you have to be able to find your voice. You have to be able to craft a message that resonates with your prospective audience. And you have to do it in a way that makes you look like a resident expert and be authentic and a quality leader. But I think the point of today is really about being comfortable owning that message. And let's be honest, you started this business because you believed in it, right? You didn't decide that you were going to either quit your job and take a risk or take money out of savings and put it into this business without the belief that what you're doing is going to work. And the reason that you believe it's going to work, or at least hopefully the reason you believe it's going to work, is because either you have a really good idea, a really good product, service, something that might be a disruptor, something that might just be a better mousetrap, but you believe in that and you've decided to put your hard-earned time and money into making this business happen. That in itself is something that you need to be confident about. It's something that you need to be proud of. And it's something that you can't be bashful about being able to stand on top of the desk and yell it. Because let's be honest here, you're the one that has the risk, right? You have taken that risk of dollars and time and decided to start that business. So why now, once you start getting going, are you going to second guess your own ability to do this when maybe you're faced with, your first adversity, your first challenge, or that first opportunity to just be vocal about what you're doing? And I've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs where they're not really comfortable in their own skin. And I've been there, right? I told the story before about when I was 20, ish years old and I started my first business. And I remember the first presentation I did for over 100 people in a hotel conference room. And I was maybe 20. I was wearing a suit. It was hot. I was sweating like a pig. I was a mess. But I knew that if I couldn't get through my presentation and tell people about why they should consider doing business with me, then what was the point of what I was doing, right? If I wasn't comfortable being able to do that, no matter how bad I was or how uncomfortable or scared, I still had to be able to portray and articulate to that audience that I knew what I was talking about. And while maybe I look like I'm a little bit nervous or uncomfortable or scared, the reality is the business is not. And so I think that you have to be comfortable being able to talk about the business, being able to explain why you started it in the first place, and also realize that as a business owner, you don't have to be perfect, right? You just have to be, perfect in the pursuit of perfection, but you don't actually have to be perfect. You have to be comfortable talking about your business in a way that lets people know that you're here for the long haul. They can trust you. And while you may not have everything solved, you will listen to their feedback and you will continually improve your product, your service, your offering, to enhance the experience for your customers. And again, just getting comfortable talking about it is really half the battle. I remember, in my early days, I would travel a lot on planes. And I remember when I got on the plane, I would be very uncomfortable because I knew inevitably the person sitting to my right or my left was going to ask me, "What do you do?" And then I was going to have to get into an elevator pitch because if I say, "Oh, I own a small business that does, X, Y, and Z," they're going to want to know what that is, right? They're inevitably going to want to talk because if they ask you that question of what do you want to do, they're looking to chat. And so I had to really start to work on my elevator or my airplane pitch, if you will, to be able to explain that. And I think that, that time frame really helped me be able to come up with that story, that messaging, that, that soundbite, if you will, about the business. And again, you have to practice this. You've seen movies where people are looking in a mirror and they're talking to the mirror about their whatever. Maybe they're asking somebody out. Maybe they're doing a pitch, a business presentation. Like, this is the real world, folks. This is what we live in. So again, you've got to be comfortable with your own voice. You have to be comfortable telling the story about your business, and be okay when people start asking you questions, and don't feel like it has to be perfect. Frankly, nobody wants to work with somebody who's perfect. It reminds me of we were experimenting with AI a couple weeks ago and testing out the telephony side of it. And I remember we started working with some of these bots, testing out some call scripts, both to existing customers as well as to prospective customers. And one of the things that we found very early on is that when we used a bot that was really polished and perfect, people knew it was a bot. But when we started to add imperfections into it, like ums and pauses and some awkwardness, it felt more real and genuine. And nobody ever asked if this was a bot. Now, granted, we told them at the beginning it was a bot, but beside the point, like, people wouldn't, question it as much because they feel like they're talking to somebody that's real and genuine and authentic and just like them. So my point of today is getting comfortable owning your story, getting comfortable talking about it, being comfortable talking about, your elevator pitch, your airplane pitch, and really remember why you started this business. You took the risk, so don't be afraid to tell people about it because you decided to do this. You know it's going to be successful. Don't second guess yourself now. Hope you find this helpful. My name is Ron Dichter. This is Projecting Grandeur. Please remember to like and comment, and most importantly, share. Thanks so much, everyone.